So, a lot of you have been asking me for my opinion on nuclear power lately, and by a lot of you I mean literally none of you have ever asked me that. But I'm gonna share my opinion anyway because it's my opinion and it's therefore super important. It'll probably come as a surprise to a lot of you given that there are no, obvious effects. But I used to live next door to a nuclear reactor when I was younger, so you can believe me when I tell you that I have first-hand experience with the dangers of nuclear power. Despite how dangerous nuclear power is, my house and the reactor were not located in some remote location far from civilization to keep people safe. The reactor was located in the middle of a city, in a building full of students, about 5 minutes from where I lived. The reactor was, and is, I guess, a tiny and cute little engine of destruction that sits at the center of the Merrill Engineering Building at the University of Utah. It's about the size of a microwave oven and produces an insignificant 100 kilowatts of power. In contrast, some nuclear reactors are capable of producing something like 40,000 times as much power, which I guess makes them 40,000 times as dangerous. The reactor is actually used by the students participating in the university's nuclear engineering program, where they are taught how to handle, maintain, and operate the reactor. Students actually stand directly inside the reactor as it's operating, visually observing and manipulating things within the reactor while it's turned on, which the professors at the university have the nerve to tout as a feature of the deadly machine. I once worked up the courage to go stand up to the university in the name of all humanity, and I demanded that they give me a tour of the reactor so that I could explain it in more detail. I went up and I just demanded it, but they told me to buzz off. And I suspect that was because they didn't want me to see how dangerous their nuclear reactor actually was close up. Well, it's true that during all my time living near the nuclear reactor that was operated by amateur children, I was never once, irradiated or mutated or exploded or injured in any other way by the reactor. I attribute this mostly to just sheer dumb luck. Well, the experts, and I say that in quotations because they're just, the professors of engineering or the professors of nuclear engineering at the University of Utah, well, they say that the reactor is so safe that a tsunami from the west coast hitting Salt Lake is more likely than it ever actually causing problems. This is almost certainly propaganda from oil companies intent on keeping us dependent on carbon-based fuels. Nowadays, I live about an hour and a half from the university and its little reactor, and about 2 hours away from this other nuclear power plant in Wyoming. It's quite dangerous, and I live in constant fear now that I fully understand the dangers of nuclear power. There's also another nuclear power plant currently going up in my state, and right now it's slated for 2030 if we can't do more to delay its construction. Hopefully, if we continue to increase costs through legal battles and regulatory restrictions, which have already raised the price of the reactor from an estimated $3 billion to like 18 to 20 billion, Blue Castle Holdings may eventually just give up and decide that it's just too much work to build it. But if that doesn't work, for all the risk we're taking, the twin 1500 megawatt reactors in this single plant will only increase the electricity output in Utah by 50%. That's 50. The fact that some people seem to think that this is worth the cost of us using up all of our water and risking, the detonation of a nuclear bomb in the heart of Utah on a daily basis bewilders and terrifies me. Our reckless pursuit of power is going to turn the world into an irradiated wasteland. We're all going to become sterile, and our children are going to end up mutants, and no one seems to care. But I do, which is why I will continue to rage against nuclear power at any and every opportunity that I get. Thank you.